Guys, I want to share with you what's going on in the market, and I'll just kind of give the summary really quickly, and I'm going to break down each of the individual markets, but I'll give the summary right now. This is the best year we have ever had here in Texas, and I think that's true for many states throughout the great United States of America. But our full year forecast in terms of sales is that our values are up, and they are going to be up in terms of this number of sales. They're going to be up somewhere between 10 to 15%. Some markets higher, some markets not as high. How do you think this Houston, Texas market is doing? High. I don't care if there's a hurricane. I don't care if gas prices go negative. I don't care if we have a worldwide pandemic. In the same year, we're going to win the national championships in either baseball or in basketball or football, you name it, right? And then we're gonna do what? And then we're gonna close out the year better than ever. So the Houston market is absolutely killing it so far through September, and we've got another full 3 months to get all the rest of the numbers on the board. But we're expecting the sales are going to be up somewhere between 10 to 15%, and this is for most of Texas as well. What's even more exciting than that is some markets, their year-over-year increase in average sales price might be up somewhere between 20 and 25%. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. How many of you guys own rental property? Okay, keep your hands up. Those of you guys who own rental property, later on after the meeting, we're going to just go outside in the hallway and we're going to do the happy dance. How many of you guys have owned those rental properties for a long time, like more than 10 years? Raise your hands. It is a really happy dance. Yes? 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 Now, some of you guys, and I can tell by the look on your face in the back, sir, you're like, but those property taxes. Was that what I was feeling by that look you were giving me? A little bit? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a quick poll. Wait, I don't need to. Does anybody feel sorry for this man? No. Why? Because you're crying all the way to the bank. I could take another poll, sir. I could take another poll if you'd like me to. I can have them raise hands. I've kind of trained to get them up. So far, so good. Okay. Nobody feels sorry for you. How about some of you guys who have owned your own homestead? Yes, yes. You've seen the values go up. Yes, I know that taxes are going up too, but man, your equity looks good. And for many people, by the time they get to retirement, how much actual retirement money do they have? Very little. And most of that is tied into the one investment that they made in real estate, which is their house, right? So for that reason, we will commence happy dancing. And you, sir, you look like you can dance. So I'm just saying, okay? You've probably been practicing this dance for a while. So for those of us who own rental property, for those of us who own homesteads, this is a great time to be a real estate investor. So excited to be able to share that forecast and that news for you. And one of the things we were talking about earlier when we were getting started is why are realtors not bringing me deals like they used to? And I'd said earlier to Grace, I said, gosh, I mean, having a realtor bring you deals, that would have been a great idea like 6 years ago. But right now, there are not a lot of deals in the MLS because houses are selling at roughly 100% of list price, right? And for me as a real estate investor, I don't know about you guys, but I still haven't figured out how to buy at 100,000 and sell at 100,000 and make money off of that, right? So we got to get a little more creative. We got to find these deals in some of these dark alleys, right? And look for them in other ways. And the reason why that's the case is because of the inventory situation that we've all found ourselves in. So what's up with inventory and why is it so low? Well, I've created a list of all of the reasons why that inventory situation is so low. I'm going to put it in full screen view. So some of you guys, maybe with your cameras, you can see it in the back, right? So there's so many things that have happened to us over the last 20 months. The uncertainty of what's coming paralyzes sellers. Did anybody say in March of 2020, like, hey, the world's kind of turning upside down. Why don't we sell our house right now? No, everyone was like, hey, let's just hunker down and maybe they won't see me. Like, let's play dead. So when people get fueled with fear and uncertainty, typically they try not to do anything. They get a little paralyzed. And then the other thought is, well, gosh, are the buyers who are coming into my house, what's their health condition, right? And do I have to hand sanitize my entire house after they walk through? And then asking the questions, will the stream of buyers that are coming into my house interrupt my day, interrupt my child's day, disturb my dog? Who knew that dogs were so sensitive other than my dog has never barked so much in his life, or maybe he did, I just wasn't home to hear it as much. But these stream of buyers interrupting your day. Low interest rates are not just motivating buyers to buy properties. Low interest rates are also motivating sellers to do what? Refinance. Okay, quick question, quick poll. Over the last 20 months, how many of those of you guys who are homeowners said, hey, honey, and I'm looking at you, Michael, hey, honey, I'd like to make a home improvement. Let's say we build a deck. I know she asked you. I can just tell by looking at it. Did she ask you to yes? How many of you guys made your home your sanctuary and did some home improvement over the last 20? Yes, right? And I did the same thing. And you never realize how much you love your home until this moment. So a lot of people we found were refinancing their houses and then reinvesting in their houses using either the lower interest rate, the lower payment, or maybe some cash out to be able to make some improvements there. And of course, the last market cycle changed how builders develop, I feel like, forever. It used to be that their philosophy was, we will build it and they will come. Right now, it's changed to, I'm not even going to break ground until I have at least one fully executed contract and 5 backup contracts in my drawer, right? So that's one of the reasons why we're short on inventory right now. And labor shortage, immigration policies, border crossing insecurity, stopping would-be contractors, would-be laborers from coming over here and helping us build houses. Material shortage, supply chain disruption, and it seems like 20 months in, it's not getting any better, okay? And will this have an effect on our prices? Will this have an effect on our, will this have first an effect on our inventory, which will later have an effect on our prices? And the answer is yes. Prices have gone up for both labor, materials, and land, city permitting, and I put the city permitting note in here for just about every single major city in Texas except Houston. Because in Houston, you can have a daycare next to a gun shop, next to a coffee shop, next to a strip club, and a postal service, and it all makes sense. I don't know how that works, but that's how that works here. But in other major cities, there's the issue of city permitting, building codes, making houses more expensive. The Elon effect, right? Elon puts on a cowboy hat, sits next to Governor Greg Abbott and says, I'm a Texan now. And now all of a sudden, like every other plate is an out-of-state plate who decided that they're going to put on a cowboy hat too. So also we're finding, and I'm curious, I want to do a raise of hands. How many of you guys have kept your starter home and held it as a rental property or an Airbnb? Okay, a couple of you guys. So that is a big trend as well. And then institutional buyers. This is the thing that might actually surprise you. So I know all of you guys have heard of hedge funds, right? Coming in and buying. Who else is coming in and buying? So you might have heard of Open Door. My realtors probably all know Open Door, and Zillow Offers actually just said, has anybody read the article about Zillow Offers this week? They basically said, yeah, we're full. We're just so full. Can't take any more houses right now. And why did they say we're full? Why did they say we're not buying houses anymore? No, not because they can't sell them, but because they can't fix them fast enough. All right? They don't have their systems in place. Do you guys know how much these iBuyers are losing on every single property they buy? Texas A&M Real Estate Center just did an article about it about 3 months ago. They lose about $8,000 for every house that they buy. What? If I lost $8,000 on every house that I bought, I know I would not have $1 billion valuation on Wall Street. Yet, some of these companies, even though they're not making any money and purposely losing money, have these $1 billion evaluations. So this is your competition. This is your competition. How do you beat Open Door, Redfin, Zillow, any of those places who are buying properties? Somebody said passion? Cash? I was going to say passion. Oh, okay. But yes, that's good. But what else? Somebody said cash. Well, they offer cash too. How do we beat them? You get creative. You offer the seller more than just cash? Local knowledge? Increase the price. Anybody? Find the deal before them. Here's something else. Know what they will buy and know what they won't buy. Let me tell you guys something. I don't care how much passion you have, and I have a lot of passion, but I'm not going to beat Open Door on an offer. I'm just not. Why? Because I can't afford to lose $8,000 on average on every house. Guys, there's a saying in real estate in life, when you compete with stupid, you can write this down. Yeah. When you compete with stupid, well, you don't want to win, because if you win, you've lost and you just don't know it yet. And I see a lot of new investors like, oh, well, they must know something I don't, so I'm going to raise my offer. No, it's okay to say they're just idiots. Yes, but there are certain properties that they will buy and certain properties that they won't buy. So now what do you have to do? Just go after the properties that they won't touch. They have very specific buying criteria. What else can you do? I love Get There First. What else? Open Door and some of these other places buy properties from sellers who want to sell. As a real estate investor, who do we sometimes buy properties from? Distressed, yeah. People who don't want to sell. I buy a lot of properties from people who don't want to sell their houses. And are those people calling Open Door? No, because they need to stay. Open Door is advertising, hey, if you want me, I'm over here, right? For us as real estate investors, we're going there and we're saying, no, we're here and you need our help, and let me tell you why. You're about to lose everything. Now, I don't want to sell, I don't want to sell, I don't want to sell. 3 days before the auction, we need to talk. So the ones who don't want to sell are also a better fit for us than they are for them, because no one's going to work harder for them than we will. So watch out for those institutional buyers as well. They're coming into this market. There was a community of, I want to say it was like 200 homes in Conroe that just sold recently to an institutional buyer. So we're seeing that as well. And of course, in this second to last bullet point, starting to break free, right? But we're still seeing a lot of foreclosures being held back because of some of the policies that were put in place over the last 20 months. And I know this last bullet point is kind of like, feels like it's forever ago, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm sweating up here right now. But the snowstorm that actually, we had snow in Houston, really? Yes, we did. And it busted pipes? Yes. And it caused damage? Yes. And it made plumbers like if I had a daughter, I would have married her to a plumber for that week, right? It's like, it's the only way you're getting a plumber, right? I mean, or sheetrocker. I mean, which one do you think is cuter, honey? I don't know, right? So, but those are some of the things that have caused some of this inventory situation that we're in right now. And guys, I want to go through the market update, and I want to address each of the major markets throughout Texas. I'm going to go through the Texas roll-up first, and then after I go through the Texas roll-up, I'm going to roll through all of the different markets throughout Texas. I'm going to go through Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio really quickly, because I'm going to focus mostly on what's happening here in Houston. So every week we do a market update, and every week we've got a little bit more information, because some of the different MLSs share their information at different times during the month. So you can catch our market date every Tuesday online as well. So love to be able to share that information with you so we know where that puck is going. So I'll go through the roll up for Texas. So the average price last month was up 20%. Yes, happy dance. Yes, feels so good, especially for the buy and holders and even for the fix and flippers, right? The closed sales, however, was down 0.7%. I'm going to address that. So I don't want anybody to walk out of the room and say, I quit before I even got started. So I want to explain to you why that is. Pending sales for next month, they're down 2.5%. Pending sales are our closest leading indicator of what closed sales will be next month. But year to date in Texas, the total number of sales are up 9% year over year, and the average price is up 20% year over year. So great numbers. I'll spend a fair amount of time on Houston because it's probably one of the markets that's performing the best out of all the markets. So last month, the average price was up 13% to $372,000. Days on market were a very short 29 days versus 51 days last year. Closed sales was up 1.5%. So one of the few major markets that had an increase in year-over-year sales. Right now, months of inventory in Houston is a very short 1.8 month supply of inventory. It was 2.4 months versus last year, and the 40-year average is about 6 months of inventory. This lack of inventory and this increase in demand, because of all those reasons I shared with you, is what's causing that average price to increase so much. Pending sales. There is no other major city in Texas that has this many pending sales and this much growth year over year. Pending sales for Houston up 22% year over year. Active listings are down 12% versus last year. And last year they were down probably about 30% versus where they were the year before. Typical number of listings for us in the Houston market is double this. So this is why I told you that realtor is not going to bring you that deal, because there's not enough active listings hardly at all to even supply the normal buyer demand that we have. Year-to-date sales up 15.3% and average price up 18% versus last year. So can I get a round of applause for Houston, Texas? Amen. Yeah. All right. So for San Antonio, the average price was up 15% at $351,000. Their sales last month were flat, and this is the closest market that got anywhere near Houston in terms of just being flat. The two other major markets were actually down. Pending sales also flat, total listings down 15%. Year-to-date sales in San Antonio seen an 8% increase. Year-to-date average price a 16% increase. For Austin, the average sales price up 25% last month, but total sales were down 5% versus the same time last year. Pending sales are also down. Total active listings flat. Year-to-date sales up 6.4%. It would probably be higher if there was more than a 1 month supply of inventory of homes for sale. The average price up 32% year over year. In Dallas and Fort Worth, average price up 18% to $415,000. Sales were down 3% last month, and pending sales are down 5%. Year-to-date sales in Dallas are flat, and year-to-date average price is up 22%. So how many of you guys are saying, wow, it sounds like the market's slowing down a little? None of you. So then this next slide is completely redundant because you already know all this stuff, so I'll just skip over this. I'll read it for the few of you who may not be totally clear. So I want to make sure you are clear on why sales were down last month, specifically in Austin and in Dallas, and obviously they were flat in San Antonio, up in Houston. So throughout Texas, single-family home sales ended a multi-month positive run with a 9.4% drop versus July of 2020, and that's across the board. The number rebounded in August, so sales were up 1%, but we did see a decline again in September for several of the markets. The decline was the result of this worldwide disruption that we're all living through. Remember, we had that record-setting surge of sales July, August, and September as we were all allowed to get out of our houses, right? And the first thing that many of us did when we got out of our houses was we got into a brand new house, right? Again, just to give you perspective, the year-over-year numbers are still up about 10% year-over-year in Texas. So I wanted to be able to share that with you so you know that it's not down in all these other markets. It's not going to be a bad year for us. It's just relative to what was going on in those last few months of the year. So I want to be clear on that as we go through the market update. And guys, I also have a special announcement for you all as part of the Real Estate Investor Association. So this last 20 months has given us the time and ability to rethink how we run the Real Estate Investor Association. So historically, what that has looked like is we've told real estate investors, hey guys, come back next month and we'll do another presentation. You get another tip of the week and we'll share some other great knowledge with you. And it's basically learning real estate investing 3 hours at a time, once every single month. And we realized over the course of this past 20 months that that was maybe not as effective as it should be in terms of you guys getting started and you guys being successful in real estate. So what we've done is we've changed our membership to say, come back over and over again, to come back to this one meeting that we have tonight and then come to a 3-day training where we will give you all that you need to know. So we're going to open up the kimono and share with you what it takes to be a successful real estate investor here in Texas. And we're actually going to share our personal blueprint. And I'm hoping we will get our personal blueprint up here. I've got a copy of it. I don't see it here. If I don't get it in the next few minutes, then I'll show it when my husband starts presenting in the next couple moments. But basically what it looks like is we've broken down the 272 different things that we've learned over the course of the last 2 decades into a blueprint and broken it out so that you guys can understand what it takes to be a real estate investor and be successful at it. We talk about all of the different real estate investing strategies that we use way beyond wholesaling. So my husband's going to share that presentation with you in the next few moments. And we talk about the marketing strategies that are going to be able to find you that deal so that you can actually close one. And then for those of you who are my left brainers, or for those of you who are my hardcore engineers, or for those of you guys who are I don't have a lot of people skills and I haven't talked to anybody because I've been in a cube or I've been at home alone way too long, so I've forgotten some of these skills. We're going to give you what we call the exactly what to say for the real estate investor in order to close deals, in order to overcome objections, and in order to get to the finish line, the closing line. We'll also talk to you about how it looks to partner with other local real estate investors that are part of this association, get access to funding, and so much more. And you guys can get signed up for that at texasstarterkit.com. And for those of you guys who are here in person, we also have a little QR code at the bottom, so you can scan that. It will take you to texasstarterkit.com. We have a Texas REIAs internet connection here as well, so you can log on to that Texas REIAs guest. There's no password for that, but we'd love to have you guys join us. And one of the things that we've done over the course of the last 20 months, just because it has been such an absolutely crazy year, is we have been offering this training for free. So normally, thank you, Phil, yeah. So normally we charge you guys to be part of it, but over the last 20 months, we've been mostly online, right? But now that we're transitioning to live, we're only going to be doing it free for just the rest of this year. So as everyone kind of transitions back to a new normal, we're not going to be doing it free anymore, but we wanted to continue this offer to help you guys be more successful and start 2022 with a bang with the information that you're getting out of this class in 2021. So we have classes coming up in the major markets that we invest in. So we've got a class coming up in Houston, October 29th, 30th, and 31st. Yes, that's Halloween. You guys can get dressed up as a real estate investor. Do you guys know what the dress code is, how to dress up? When you go to the costume shop and you're looking for the real estate investor costume, do you know what it is? I don't see anybody in here wearing it. It's a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, that's it. You guys can dress up like that, yeah. So we'd love to invite you to see us here live October 29, 30, and 31. If you can't make that meeting, we have a meeting in Austin November 12th, 13th, and 14th, and a meeting in Dallas November 19th, 20th, and 21. You guys can get registered for it at texasstarterkit.com. So I've got the link up here. You guys can follow the link. We're going to ask you a couple of questions just so we know who's coming to the meeting. We also want to know where you are today in your real estate investing and where you want to go in your future. So over the course of the time that we've been part of Texas REIAs and running Texas REIAs, we've helped a lot of investors build their personal blueprint, build their personal plan so that they can be more successful as a real estate investor using, again, the tools, tips, strategies, tribal knowledge that we teach as part of this association and use to help people in Texas win and figure this out and figure this out the right way. So would love to have you guys join us. And and also help you along your way, help you create your personal starter kit and your personal blueprint. And guys, to help with this, I'm